Okay.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I hope that all of you are doing safe and well. I welcome you all for our today's session, Importance of Soft Skill, a topic which had a lot of queries from students across the country, maybe due to the fact that all the students believe that soft skill is essential for a make or break in your career. With this, I'd like to introduce our speaker for today's session, Dr. Ashwin, who's going to talk you through the importance of it and guide you on how you can hone your skills. Ashwin is an impactful leader and a veteran in IT skill set for more than 24 years. He has experience in various domains such as retail, banking, education, travel, and logistics. He worked in top tier companies like Infoview, Wipro, and TCS before joining Virtusa. He's currently the Senior Vice President of CTOL. Ashwin, over to you.
Thanks, Naveen. Thanks, Kruti, for the opportunity. It's always a. You're able to hear me, right, Naveen and Kruti?
Yes, Ashwin.
Yeah. So thanks for the opportunity again, and hope this 1 hour is useful to all the people who have logged in. And I will. So what we will do is I have a presentation which I will go through, and then we'll keep it. If whatever questions you have, put it in the chat window. So and people so that we can take questions. So whenever you have a question, please try to put it in the chat window. Okay. So let me go ahead with the presentation and let me know once you are able to see that. Yeah, Naveen, you're able to see the presentation?
Yes, Dr. Ashwin.
Yeah. So this is how I generally, this is my, how I start a presentation. And this is the one thing which keeps me going. Dream is not what you see in sleep. Dream is something which doesn't let you sleep. By our, Dr. Abdul Kalam. And this is what my sincere this thing is each one of you should have one slogan which keeps you going, which whenever you are down, whenever you need motivation, you can't look for external motivation. You should have one this thing, and that thing can keep changing with time. But all of you should have that one thing which keeps you going, and this, for me, this is what has been for a long time. And thank the deepest gratitude to Kriti, Naveen, the entire GTP team. Let me start this presentation on soft skill. Before getting into specific soft skills, I'll give you a brief of this is a series called Employment Series, and we are in the sixth session. We have completed 5 sessions. This is the sixth sessions. There are 2 more sessions. You can check the links which we can share it with you if you're interested for the previous sessions and see if you can join the remaining session. All started the entire employability series started with this question: what is certification versus qualification? So how is both important, or which is important? Actually, both are important, but I'll give you a perspective. All of you are in either a college or if you're a faculty, so you will make your students certified, and if you are a student, you will get certified. How qualified are you to get a job? And once you get a job, how you keep yourself qualified as per the industry requirements, so that you keep through the job, or even if you want to be an entrepreneur, how you keep yourself qualified. So this is the subtle difference, and that's what this entire series is all about. You will get certified by academics, and which is very important. Again, also, can you get qualified? That's the another one. And once you are qualified and have joined the job, how can you keep yourself qualified? That's the question which all of us have to answer. And this is the 8 concepts of this thing that we covered. Technology focus, we covered first. Management skills, communication skills, positive intention, actually sorry for the typo there, emotional intelligence was the previous session, and today's session is about soft skills. Okay, so that's what we are going to cover. So before getting into soft skills, I'll take about 5 to 10 minutes to give a very quick overview on the other 5 which we are already covered. Okay, so this is what we covered on technology skills. The key takeaway is coding is your heart. If you want to join IT, and this particular section of the presentation, this particular 1 or 2 minutes of the session is pretty specific to IT. You definitely need to have coding skills if you want to join IT. You can be going into AML, you can go to data and cloud, you can go anything, but coding should be there in your blood. That's where you become a great IT professional. So that's where if you see now school itself, where people are started to learn coding. So very important that you build coding as an art. And then you get language skills, couple of languages like Java or Python, you can choose, even whatever, if you want .NET, whatever you want to choose, and get deep into it, not superficial knowledge, get deep into it. Get knowledgeable on full stack. Attend some course, you do it on your own, the choices are many. Then get into, either you want to get into the full stack engineering as a career, or you want to get into AIML, or you want to get into data cloud, is your choice. The foundation has to be laid down for you to choose bigger things. And we talked about coding as an art. I covered language, logical thinking, detailed oriented. It's not superficial knowledge. You have to be getting detailed. You understand the computing. What do you mean by computing? When you say artificial intelligence or machine learning, everything is about computing. Computers, IT is about computing. What is computing power? How it has moved from in-house to cloud, all that. Then thinking abstractly. That's a very important concept of we dwelled into it. And then in terms of, it's a scientific method. Understand this is not by chance. Nothing gets created by chance. If you're seeing Apple product or Apple software, whatever you want to look, nothing gets by chance. It's a scientific method. There is a procedure to do it. And in terms of self-reliance, how self-reliant are you when you code? It's not about cutting paste code from the internet and moving on. That helps no one. You have to be self-reliant. You need to know how to code. And so we covered up that. And then this is a good slide, which I would like to leave it for the IT folks in terms of how you can use these path to get into IT and also continue to be in IT. Fundamentals, language, architecture, scripting language, full stack exposure, and then get into your selected field. If you can time your first year, second year, third year, final year into these, jobs are there. We have plenty of jobs are there. Don't get into negativity by the market, which is happening in terms of, believe me, there is a lot of job opportunities opening up in the IT field. And I can talk about IT because I'm from IT. And if you look at industries, financial industries is blooming. Fundamental retail is blooming. Your pharmaceuticals, healthcare is blooming. Yes, travel and other industries are going through a bad phase, and but if you look at IT, we cater to finance, we cater to manufacturing, we cater to multiple things. So as an industry, we are lucky enough to, because it's growing. So keep on to the journey. Don't get into the negativity of jobs are going off. Jobs are going off because you're not qualified. Okay. So then we went into management skills. Management skills, there was a question very important. Why do you need management questions for a fresher? It's actually not like that. Management is also about self-management. How can you manage your time? How can you manage your scope? How can you manage the requirements? Okay, so how can you give an estimation for the work that is allocated to you? So these are different management skills. We went into each one, how planning and integration, requirements, understanding, time management, how reporting and compliance, because status of your work is very important, and compliance to various rules are also important, and also about the big picture. This is the fourth one, actually decides whether you are successful or not successful. Because if you understand that the project that you're working on, why is you projects get funding in the current world without earth. So if you understand the big picture and understand the reason, that's where you can make a huge difference. Then we covered this competence, commitment, and connection. All the three important for the productivity part of it. Then we went about communication, the third session. If you look at it, communication, more than 40% is as listen. Only when you listen, you can understand and communicate. So communication is not equal to English. Communication is about conveying and giving information, and also about speed, and also about presentation. And we covered all this, how listening, non-verbal communication, being clear, being concise, being confident, being personable, being patient. All this is about communication. English is not the only part of communication. It's only about conveying in the context. If you are marketing, what's the goal? If you are in an interview, what's the goal? The communication should be relevant to the context. Non-verbal communication, which you talked about, your dress, your handshake, your now you can't say handshake. Now it's your namaste or what, your respect. Everything communicates. Your email ethics communicates. Your tone communicates. Your high contact communicates. So verbal is only 35%. Non-verbal is about 65% of the communication. We went deep and I covered about listening. How listening is very important. About more than 40% is listening. Most people do not listen with an intent to understand. That makes the differentiator. You have to listen not to respond, but first with the intent to understand. Once you understand, and then you can respond. So that makes a huge difference. Yes and no, well thought through yes and no. That's there's a famous this thing. If you don't say no to many things, your yeses can't be of good quality. Which means you have to say no to many things, but whatever you say yes on should be of the highest quality. You have to, and always saying no gives you a very nobody will come to you. You will very soon be irrelevant. But saying yes to everything, you won't deliver. So your no's should actually give power to your yes and make it more commit. When you say yes, it has to be commitment to complete. So that's where we went into the yes and no. Then we went into the positive intent. We covered two aspects of it. One is the self-positive intent about yourself and the positive intent of others. You don't start off by saying, I won't do this. You need to start off by saying what you want to do. I've seen many people coming and say, I don't want to work in a mundane project. I don't want to work in a support project. I don't, but then what do you want to work in? That's the question which you have to answer. Because once you answer that question, even any project you can be innovative. Any project you can add value. Any project you can make it interesting. So that is where your difference comes about. You can achieve the same thing by having positive intention and adding value to others. Then we went on saying about this Indranui's this thing statement. Whatever anybody says or does, assume positive intent, because nobody wants to make a mistake. 95% of the people or circumstances do not want to make a mistake. So if you approach that problem, the solution will come up. And we went into the depth of positive intent, better the benefits of positive intent, better communication, opportunities comes to you. When you are positive about yourself and the environment, opportunities come. Build a stronger bond of trust. It builds a trust between yourself and the team on you. And we went then into the last this thing about emotional intelligence. And this is from my doctorate. I completed my doctorate from Chitkara University. It is about how emotional intelligence plays an important role, specifically in the IT field. Even if you have employability skills, how does it affect the employer satisfaction? So the company wants to hire you. How does it make a difference? That's what my study about. And if you look at this is World Economic Forum 2015 and 2020, emotional intelligence was not even there in 2015. But if you look at 2020, the emotional intelligence is the 6th place. So it has come in. And if you look at it, this was my model. You have employability skills, you have employer satisfaction, but the emotional intelligence part actually moderates the value. Even if you are extremely good, and if you are not emotionally intelligent, your value to the company is lesser. And this we went how depth we went depth into the emotional intelligence part, self-emotional, others emotional, regulation of emotion, use of emotion. And we went through each one and said how each one is important from an aspect of employability. So we had some of the major findings. Emotional intelligence a significant mediator between, that's what I told, and the findings reveal the use of emotion. When you say use of emotion, the ability for the user to effectively using their emotion to direct it to constructive team and personal performance. But that's the most important thing. And what it simply means is I always tell myself I'm a competent person. How confidently you can say that you can use that emotion for the benefit of yourself and also for the team. And then this we covered these data points. of 71% of the employer says your emotional intelligence is what they are more looking for from an IQ perspective. We also covered the step-by-step process to improve upon EI. Take responsibility of your feelings and behavior. Don't blame others. Practice responding rather than reacting. Practice empathizing with yourself and others. Try to come out, see yourself and give benefit of doubt to you first, and then also to the others. And that creates a positive environment. Now getting into today's this thing of soft skills. Okay, in terms of so what do you define soft skills? So a lot of people have a lot of definitions, and it's a very abstract. But and this I got it from internet only. The cluster of skills that influence how we interact with one another. Ability to relate and connect with people. That's how soft skills are. And are they important? They're very important, because if you look at your interview or any process, there will be an HR round, there will be, and this is where what we see, cluster of skills that influence how we interact with one another. So you are not an individual alone in the company, in the team. You have to work along with others. So how do you interact? And how can you bring the best of yourself in the interaction and also bring the best of everybody? So this is how we define, and this is plain vanilla definitions. What are hard skills and soft skills? Hard skills can be learned. You can learn it from a book. You can learn it with hands-on experience. Ability to do things in your chosen career. Soft skills cannot be learned from books. It has to be, it's a work ethics. It is about ethics which you learn during the work and before getting into work. Even see people, some of the freshers says, I don't have an experience. You will do projects in your during your college. You will go into internships. You will have simple assignments. What are the work ethics that you show there? What is that you are doing, improving on your personality, improving on your communication? Those are all nothing but soft skills. Habits and traits are soft skills. Features and examples. I was trying to put this example view. Measurable. Hard skills are measurable and technical. Things that are done in the workplace, primarily solitary. You do it on your own most of the time. Soft skills are immeasurable. You can't, it has to be done by understanding and experiencing the person. Ability to deal with other people at workplace, predominantly gregarious. This is about working with a team. For example, hard skills are reading, writing, math, your computer abilities, logic skills, your language, Java, those things are hard skills. Soft skills are your interview. An interview is not only gone with you attending the interview to get a job. Many a times in the service industry, the customer also will interview to take you into a project. Even internally, we will be interviewed to take, I won't say it's interview, I would say selection, right? There are 10 people and people want to applying for the same project. Project manager will obviously talk to them. So how do you present yourself? Attitude, self-confidence, habits, decision making, flexibility, commitment, time management, communication. These are soft skills. We won't have time to go into the entire and there are much more. We will certainly cover the top 4 or 5, which I've tried to cover, and we will see. We will take questions if anything else is there. But if you look at it, once you are aware that these are skills which you have to develop. So, and this is a good important side. When there are core skills, the core skills will not ask only for hard skills. Nobody will say, I want a Java person. I want a Java person who can communicate, who can have an attitude towards taking work, being innovative. So those it will come. So both additions are equal to the core skills. So then we are now getting into the each one. We'll see. First, let's start off with self-confidence. Traits of low self-confidence. Worrying about how you are coming across. That's least thing you should be worried about. You have to, first of all, you have to communicate. Because I keep saying, how do I come across? Nobody is bothered about how do you come across. You're wrong, you're wrong. You're right, they will take value. Am I saying the right thing? You first say. Obviously, you have to think and say, don't blabber. That's where competency comes in. But am I saying the right thing is very bad? Everybody need not be right all the time. Do they like me? Not necessarily. If you don't like also, people will listen. Think about it now when you are at your most relaxed, happy, funny, and chatty. So the confidence which you come into work, how relaxed are you? How happy are you? How funny are you? How chatty are you? and you need not be everything every time, but then you have to show that attributes in different forms during the course of an interview, course of a project. It probably is when you're with people you're the most comfortable with. So even with your, how are you comfortable with people? Even you're most comfortable, are you comfortable? First make yourself comfortable with people around, and then you can make comfortable. And these are skills that's where soft skills are not learned in college much, or it can be learned at home, it can be learned with friends, and you have to keep doing it even when you come into college, an enterprise. Guides to improve your self-confidence. Increasing competency is the first one. Once you get competent, you will automatically have confidence. That's the most thing. If you go to a doctor and you can see the confidence of the doctor, the competence increases, confidence increases. It's directly proportional. Speak slowly. Speak slowly for people to have understand you. Speak few words, but make it impactful. Preparation. Preparation gives you that confidence. Then once you get to prepare for multiple things, right? Then the preparation time also comes down. But end of the day, get prepared. Whether it is 5, even now, if I am going to present, I have presented multiple times. But I have to spend that time to create this presentation, to go through this presentation. And even now, if I don't spend time, I know what the quality of my presentation. Act positive. Be positive in delivering, in doing anything. The positive intention that I covered in my previous slides and the previous session is a very important thing. Once you are positive about yourself and the positive about the environment, self-confidence comes in. Groom appropriately. You don't have to be a model for grooming, but you cannot be shabby. You cannot be shabby. That gives you confidence, and whatever this thing you are confident on, which adds to you. This is a good book. This is a good methodology. Must read for anyone. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. These are, and it is multiple sessions by itself. But the 7 habits are proactive versus reactive. Put first things first. Prioritize. Are you listening? That's a very important. Once you listen, you will become effective. Begin with the end in mind. Have a goal, have a purpose, and that's what important. Think win-win. Nobody is going to win, only win-lose. Win-lose people will come down. You have to think win-win. Synergize with multiple people, sharpen. That's your competency. You need to be competent to be effective. So these 7, it's a very important book by Stephen Covey and important model. I would urge people to have a look at it, read about it. There are multiple courses that you can attend for it. And this is very important. I have learned personally, and many of my friends have learned. So it's very important that you go through and you will get your own view about it. Now getting into that interview skills. An interview is a process, just not only a conversation with 2 and more people where questions are asked by them. It is more, it is not only a conversation, it's more. It sees your soft skills, it sees your hard skills. It is a step-by-step process. It is not a conversation that we do. What are your body language, your eye contact? Be aware of yourself. The standard, what are you capable of? There is another session which is coming up, your personal USP. Everybody should be aware of your personal USP. Understand the question. That's the third is a very important thing. I have seen many people do not understand the question and act as if they have understood the question. And at no point, it is always, you can reword the question in your understanding and ask the interviewer, is this what you meant? Please do that. Listen carefully to the entire question. People think only half the question you listen to, and then pause, take a pause, and then listen. Because what happens even if you know the answer, what happens is you will not cover the entire. If the answer has 5 points, if you don't pause, you will never get that 5 points. So pause, answer the question, and don't go on. Stop for and get feedback. Maybe a person, or ask them, do they need more detail? Answer the question and stop. Don't keep going on. Relax and be confident. And this is where soft skills come into. The interviewer definitely sees how relaxed are you, how confident. Master the general nature of questions. You guys all have to be prepared with the general questions. Don't get stuck in that. Standard question is in terms of what's your college project? What's the purpose of the college project? What is the value that you have provided as an individual in the project? What is your aspiration? What is your goal? In education, what have you learned? In your college, what have you learned apart from subjects? So these are things standardly it comes. And how do you keep yourself motivated when you're down? These are questions. So I have thought through it. You don't have to mug it, but think through it and be part of it. That question should be. See, people think that if you're answering, especially soft skill related questions, people gauge you whether you are just faking it or saying it from your heart. Avoid always answering a question with a question. I've seen people answering a question with a question. Don't do that. You answer, and if you do not know, have the courage to say no. I don't know this part of the story, and leave it there. Out of 10 questions, if you do not know 2 questions and you know 8 questions, that's good enough. Have the courage to say no, and also be very confident on your yes. And don't be judgmental on the person asking. Keep it open. See, the interviewer is looking to give you a job. The interviewer is not looking for not giving you a job. We all need people, and that's where we come to colleges, or when we even take interviews for outside external, right? We want people to get a job. One of the last topics, when then we'll open up for questions in terms of, and this is a very interesting thing. If you look, if you just add hard work is equal to, if you add the different the positions of the letters, right? It's 98%, very important, right? Knowledge is 96% if you add. And what makes 100% is nothing but your attitude. It just, I saw it somewhere. I saw it and I like this. So attitude is nothing, is the 100%. Without attitude, even the best of the best get lost. And what is attitude? What is it? It's that's the crux which is important for the organization. For example, factors that determine our attitude: environment, the environment that you come up from, your experience, your education, all these. Why we come to the best of the college is your environment. What is the college gives you the environment? How is the experience in the college? How is your education? And then environment considers the following. I'm going deep into each one: positive and negative influences. And negative influences are very important. If you look at it, right, a person who comes and says, I only have positive experiences, then we have a problem, because when you come into a job, you will have negative influences. How do you learn even from the negative influence? School, peer pressure. How was your peer pressure? How did you handle peer pressure? Support over critical supervisor. There'll be supervisors which are supportive. There are supervisors who are critical. How do you manage? How exposed are you to media? What's your cultural background? What is your religious background? What are your traditions and beliefs? What is your social environment? What is your political environment? All of this creates an environment for you. And nothing is positive, nothing is negative. It's all about learning from that environment. Every environment is positive. Every environment is created with an intention. Nobody starts a business to be negative. There are some 2-3% of the world people might start something, they want to create something bad. Everything is created for a positive intent. So ensure that you, and most of that will be in the 97, 90%, 98%, but think everybody is that 2%. So that's the problem. So from the environment, how do you, basically our experience with people, our events, our negative experiences, the things which we have gone through, nurtures our attitude. Education, formal, both informal education. Education plays a very important role in our success or failure. So what is that? It's not the best of high-flying schools or colleges. It is about what respect you give in each of those to the subjects that you learn. School can be one of the best schools, or the colleges can be one of the best colleges. What is you given time to makes you. Steps to building positive attitude. I'll go some time on it. Change focus. Look for the positive. Once you start looking for the positive, your attitude will change. Your attitude will get positive. Make a habit of doing it now. Now is the only time you have, and if you want to change something, do it now. Listen to yourself and take action. You have to listen to yourself. You have to listen to your body. You have to take exercises needed, take action. If you think your communication has to improve, take action. If you think you have to develop a positive attitude, think action. And take help. Take help. The world is full of help when you want to. The world seems to be a bad place when you don't want to get help. Develop an attitude of gratitude. This is a very important. I love this. The more and more thanks you tell to people and to yourself makes a very good positive attitude, and that's what brings you as a person. Get into continuous proper education. You definitely need. I am 25 years of experience, but I have to keep learning. I am just doing my cloud certification as we talk. I have to take my exam another 2-3 weeks. It is very important that you keep learning, and that's the ask from the industry also. Think positivity. If you don't think positive about yourself, nobody else will think. Don't expect others to think positive when you yourself cannot have positive about yourself. Learn to say no. I already covered it, because your no's has to be strong, and that makes your S's more stronger. Stay away from negative influences as much as possible, but if once you have a negative influence, learn from it and move on. Start your day with a positive. This I always use. You can also use when you start your day. Think positive about one action that you have done for the previous day and what will you do positive for that day. These are all small tips and these things where you can develop the positivity. And people might think, what is this got to do with the corporate world? This has got everything to do with the corporate world. You talk to any HR, you talk to any hiring officer, hard skills and soft skills are needed. And that's where you get your, and people have this. So if you have only soft skills, obviously you won't be taken. You have to have the hard skills, but you have to have the soft skills also. And your attitude determines your altitude. I like this statement, your altitude in life. How far you go depends upon your attitude. By the way, with only technical, you might get a job, but then how big you can go in the job. The attitude will determine it. First of all, nowadays, your attitude will even determine you getting in. Your ability is what you are capable of doing. Motivation determines what you do. Attitude determines how well you do it. And that's where the companies are looking for the attitude. Because it's not about doing, right? It's about how well you do it. So that is the very important aspect of the soft skills. And if you go to this aspect of, just a second, to go into the different soft skills, we covered interview, we covered attitude, we covered self-confidence, and we already have covered communication. If you, and I'll spend some time, quick couple of minutes on each of the other points. Decision making, very important, right? We all have to make decisions, and some will be wrong, some will be right. How can you make the decisions and learn from it? If it is wrong, how do you learn from it? If it is yes, how do you improve the next time? So that's, and these starts off with small things, decisions at home, decisions about your career, decisions about your subjects you choose, decision about the company you want to join. Big decision, small decision, but decision making is very key, and attitude deserves. And why this is attitude? Because in the company, in the corporate world, you have to make decisions with the company in mind. If you're working for Virtusa, many times you will take decisions for Virtusa. Flexibility, how flexible? I've seen many people having location constraints, time zone constraints, which we all have gone through life, and you have to be flexible enough. And it's not that you need to be totally flexible, but then there has to be a little bit flexibility in various things that you do. Commitment. This is one thing which I would say makes or break. I see a person, if I give to a person, I want commitment. If he fails, I don't have a problem. If he has given commitment, I talk to my daughter also. If you look at it, right, I don't care about what she gets, but I easily tell her, if you have given your 100%, I'm fine with it. And the same thing happens to my team also. If they have given 100%, and then even then we can fail, that's okay. But how committed are we? How committed are we to perform the output at the expected level or more than the expected level? Time management. How well we can manage time, how disciplined are we to start things as planned, makes or breaks. Because the more it is an habit. You coming to a meeting 10:30 properly at 10:30 makes you, and that's an important soft skill which gives the manager the impression, okay, this guy is committed. So if I give him something, I will get the output. And communication we covered. I told communication is not English. Communication is nothing but conveying your thoughts and also listening to other people's thoughts so you can convey it as per the needs. So it is not about language skills. It's about more of the contextually, how can you convey what you have to convey and also listen to the response and also convey the right thing by after listening. Okay, so I am done with my couple of slides in terms of what I wanted to cover from a slide perspective. So Naveen, if you want to open up for questions, I can take the questions.
Sure, Dr. Ashwin. One moment. Okay, as a Dr. Ashwin, the first question is, as a final year graduate, in order to hone one skill quickly in all out of the multiple soft skill, which one do you suggest that I should improve first? Because soft skill has many traits.
See, I would say actually there's nothing called one. You have to, and if you want me to choose, start off with positive intent. Start doing a positive, and once you start off with that positive intent, what happens is everything else adds to it. But I won't put 1, 2, 3 and all. Soft skills are cannot be measured and cannot be prioritized and all that. What you can do is start with a positive intent. What it gives is it gives the platform for which you can learn the other stuff or develop. This can't be learned. It has to be developed. It has to be developed into you. Soft skills are imbibed. You get transformed into it. It cannot be taught. So that's where all these soft skill programs are helpful to give you a platform. You have to be committed to it. So I would say positive intent, start doing that.
Okay. The next question, 1 second.
Others who have questions, please put in the chat window.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, yeah. Next question is, what is Virtusa's expectation with respect to freshers? What kind of soft skills do Virtusa expects exclusively from freshers?
I would say it's not Virtusa. It's about any company with respect to. We expect our folks to be all the normal, usual stuff out positive. We don't want people who have a negative these things, and because the projects that we take are critical projects and very complex projects. And any project, in any IT company nowadays, the projects are complex. How you can show positive intent so that I can give you and I can be rest assured that you will put the best. Another one would be in terms of your emotional part, your EI part, emotional intelligence. How can you be dependent for you to deliver that? So I won't say anything Virtusa specific, but it's across the IT. It's very. I have not seen a company which says I don't want this skill, I don't want this skill. But it is up to us to develop. Somebody asked the question, what can I start off with? And by the way, none of you will be wrong in multiple things. And first of all, if you're thinking wrong, that you will be wrong in all the things, you are mistaken. You are not introspected. There are definitely things which you are at, which you will be at good, you will be average, and you will be very low. So you have to choose which is that and develop on it. I won't think you should focus on what Virtusa will look for. We look for the entire gamut of things, but definitely we look for the positive side intent of it, how emotionally strong you are, and how can you present yourself in an interview. Very important.
Thanks, Dr. Ashwin. The next question is, okay, so is soft skills more about getting into a company nowadays, and would it be useful for a fresher who has joined the company? Would it be useful for someone who's starting their career in an organization?
Very much. So that's what I said, right? Getting a job is just just start to it, right? You will work in multiple projects, and nowadays projects are 3 months, 4 months, 2 months, 6 months old projects. That's all. Previously projects used to be 2 years and whatever, right? So it's every project you will have to show that you deliver value. So it is not about your soft skills. Is not only to get a job. I think I covered that point. To get a job is very important, but then to keep the job and to get yourself promoted in the career, soft skills is very important. And as a fresher, We look for people. I've seen leaders come to the table and say, look at communication, your positive intent. How good are you? Makes or breaks your career growth. Or you will be just in the same. You might not lose your job, but you might be in the same position. So it's very important to get into a job and also to grow and keep the job.
Thanks, Dr. Ashwin. And there are like 2-3 questions which are slightly outside of today's topic. It's about programming.
That's okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So,
no problem.
Okay. So 2 of them wanted to know, is there a way in which we can learn programming quickly? What are the best steps to learn program quickly? We are ECE students, kindly guide us.
First, start coding. Start coding, you will automatically learn programming. So start off with simple problems. Start off with nowadays everything is available on the net, and you will all have. So start coding. Start using GitHub. Check in even your Hello World code. Check into it. Improvise on it. Start off with simple math problems. Then go into logical problems. Then we'll go on to real world problems. Start coding. That's the first step you can do. Then there are multiple courses. Choose a language. Choose 1 or 2 languages. I would say if you do not know any language, choose one language. Choose Python or choose Java. Get in-depth language skills on it and start coding. That's the only way to do programming. And get your code reviewed by some IT specialist. Get it reviewed so that you can get some input. But first step is doing it. If you're not started coding, then that's the first primary problem. So step 1 is to start coding, and then there are multiple. Join a Java course, complete a certification. Then also, along with getting qualified into the nuances of it, do some real-time internship. Get into projects. Start coding. That's the only way you can start into programming.
Thanks, Dr. Ashwin. The next one is from Manish. He wants to know whether creativity can be classified as a soft skill.
Definitely. As I told you, there are multiple things. Creativity is nothing but innovation, creativity. I've known people, freshers, who changed courses of projects. And I can give you a small this thing. When I was in a different company, top company, one of the freshers had joined me, and he changed the course of the project with this one question. The project, I won't have time to explain the entire concept. The project, one of the screens was coming up for about 5 minutes, and all the big heads, including architects from the customer side, that company side, everybody are looking. Fresher asked that one question: why are you bringing the data every time, and why that one part of data? He went into the depth of asking that one question, and that changed the course of the project. We completed in a week, and that the performance was after that about 10 seconds. That point of time I was talking about. Nowadays 10 seconds look very long, but that point of time 10 seconds was a good response. So importantly is being creative in your approach and also conveying your creativity. That's the most important thing. There are a lot of people who are creative, but they never convey. People, they think that people can understand that you want to understand. Nobody has the time to. You have to convey, and don't worry whether you're wrong or right. Think creatively and convey. That's very important. And we look for people. That many of these projects are, as I told you, the projects that companies win are nowadays really complex, and you have to get creative in terms of doing it faster, quicker, with quality, and also solution wise. And the customers are now in the agile world, and if you look at previous days on waterfall model, so requirements, then you will have a team to do coding, to doing design coding. Now it's all agile. Everybody in the project talk directly to the customer, and that's where soft skills, your communication are very important for a fresher itself. And you get an opportunity to work with the customer directly, and he identifies your creativity. And so that's an important that the freshers, whether you accept it or not, are the young breed, and they are creative. Issue is to you convey your creativity. Once you convey your creativity with an attitude, if it is wrong, you have to accept it is wrong and move on. Okay. So the problems I've seen is a lot of people come with creative ideas, and if it is not accepted, they say, okay, why should I tell? No. every idea will not be accepted. But then you have 10 ideas. I can assure you, if you can talk those 10 ideas, 2-3 ideas will definitely be consumed.
Okay. Dr. Ashwin, do you like to go for another question? Like,
Yeah.
Okay. So the next one is, out of all the soft skills available, positive thinking seems to be hard. How can I convince myself to think positive because it is hard? It's confused. Like,
No, I got it. So in terms of positive thinking is it's a philosophical this thing. See, positive intent is the way of life, right? If you don't want to be positive, we can all take a break and go ahead. But then the positivity is what life is all about. So if you don't, it is hard, and it is hard to start off with. Once you get into that attribute. Say, I started off saying that if I get into something, I think it is the everybody, the environment wants to create something out of it. And that's where I get that. See, every project, hard or tough, as a purpose, because somebody is paying for it. Nobody will pay for something which is not important. So how I understand that importance gives me a lot of positive vibes. So in terms of positive intention, it is nothing about big things, small things. And that's where competence, people try to do things which they are not competent on, or they don't have a focus on. You start day one, you'll never be super competent, but you want to create that competence. The want makes you to learn more, do more, right? Let me give you an example. There's some ECE student asked the question, how do I learn programming? So if he is very sincere, I've given him the thing, start coding. If he starts coding, what happens is he starts simple, checks in the code, sees the output, he gets a small positivity in something else. So you start off small victories, small wins, and then you improve on it. And then the thing is, you can get into personality courses. There are a lot of courses which can develop positivity. But then first of all, you want to be positive, because if you ask me, right, and it's a very blunt answer, it's very easy to be negative. If you look at it, it's very easy to be negative, because if you're negative, you don't have to take any action. Your positivity will require action, and that's where the differentiator is. Your negativity will say, I don't have to do anything. Anyway, it's not going to work, so don't do. But then your positivity is hard. That's why it is hard. But once you do it, you get benefited out of it, and you give the kick out of it. And there is it's a very long concept. When you achieve something, celebrate it. I didn't cover that point. When you achieve something, celebrate it. And every time, don't expect people to celebrate it. You celebrate it yourself, within yourself. You celebrate it if you've done a code, and if you don't expect your manager to say yes. You don't expect a promotion. The kick which gives you, it's like a sport. If people have what you win a point, it gives you a kick, right? So that gives you, adds the positivity. So positivity is hard. It's not the negativity is very easy. Negativity, no action. Positivity is full of action. So, but that's what will take you to the next level.
Thanks, Dr. Ashwin. Okay, so there are a lot of questions circling around that positive aspects. I'm just going through the other questions as well. Do companies want people who are multilingual?
Multilingual in the sense, see, some of the not all the roles, but certain roles that helps. For example, in my previous company, I worked for Japanese customers. And we look for Japanese customer. There is one section of people whom we look for having both the skills, both the language skills. So there is a very small percentage, but it is good. Japanese, and if you want, see, previously, some point of time, with English not being spread to many other countries, it was difficult. But if you look at now, it's coming down. But I would say, by the way, I have learned from a couple of doctors and couple of psychiatrists, learning a language adds to your brain power. Actually, learning a different language adds to your brain power. I do not know how much truth into it. I'm not a doctor to psychiatrist to approve it. But I've read about it. Learning a language adds brain power because you think differently, you think in that angle, and you speak that language. So it is definitely nice to know different languages, but then it is not cannot be your only differentiator. And if suppose you are as many companies, there are some not many, I can't say many, some companies which cater to certain geographies, and they look for people who are multilingual. So for example, if they're working for say a Spanish customer, they look for Spain. If they're working for Chinese, they look for Mandarin. If you look, Japan is a very common example because people, there are a lot of people who got jobs through the Japanese. It's come down. It's come down. I would say the need has come down, but definitely there is a added advantage. There's nothing wrong to learn language. And if not for job, you increase your brain power.
Okay. And the next question, similar question, but this person has just added one word at the end. Do companies expect us to be multilingual in programming? Do they expect us to know multiple programming language? And another question is similar to it, which is, sir, I'm very good in Python. Is that alone enough, or is it mandatory that I should know more than one programming language to join an IT company?
See, good questions, by the way. Both are good questions. See, in terms of Python is very good. Java and Python are one of the top things today. But .NET is also there. We get projects in .NET also. So I think the second question, if you know Python very good, I think you should learn Java also, because there are a lot of things. See, a lot of the enterprises won't change everything come out of Java. They have a lot of projects. For example, in Virtusa or in multiple other companies, Java has a lot of demand. And Python is also at demand. So my suggestion is, if you're very good, you've learned the inside out of Python, learn Java also. It is very nice. Learn the scripting, learn a JavaScript, learn Node.js. And I would say 2 languages are now becoming, knowing 2 base languages is actually nice. If you know more than 2, it's welcome, but 2 languages is good. So I would say, if I get a person who knows Java totally, and I get a person who knows Java and Python, what will I choose? I will choose the person who knows Java and Python, because some of the projects are in Java, some of the projects are in Python. So I would say at least choose 2 languages in your 4 years of this thing and learn it completely. Use that slide which I showed you in terms of the 2 languages, then learn and get into architecture, learn a scripting language like JavaScript or AngularJS, React.js, choose anything. Everything, and every time the demand keeps up and down, choose a scripting language also.
Thanks, Dr. Ashwin. The next one is, can we do a self-assessment on our soft skill?
There are a lot of tools that you can use. A lot of institutions who does mock interview to give an feedback. There are a lot of psychometric tests that you can take, which will give you an insight into how good are you. There are a lot. You can search the web, and I don't want to suggest any specific vendor or somebody, but there are a lot of things. You attend anything. If there is intention to change, a lot of programs. You'll automatically see Google. You can Google it and search. A lot of things are there. So you should be able to take it. But if you have intention towards that, spend time. Put some time onto everything. That for anything that you give time grows. I follow that, and this is a standard thing. Anything that you give time on a dedicated way grows. So please give that time to soft skills. It will grow. There is nothing. And know your style, and each of your style will be different. My style will be different. Naveen's style will be different. Kriti's style will be different. Somebody else from another company style will be different. Each one of us will have a different style. That's okay. But primarily, you have to have an intent to improve it, and you give that time.
Thanks, Ashwin. The next question is, a lot of people ask us to be strong in one particular language or technology, but at the same time, organizations expect us to have knowledge in different technology/tools. So should I learn 30 to 40% in each technology or language, or be very strong in one and ignore the others for an interview?
Right now, I would say put your best for about 2 languages and a scripting language. Okay, Java and Python is a good one, or .NET and Java, or Python and .NET, whatever you want to choose. Choose two languages, get more than 80%. You can nobody can get 100%. You can choose about 80% of it and know that 20% you should be able to learn and do. And then get into a scripting language. These three things from you can rest assured you will from a language that is enough. And then get into, if you don't want to, you're so interested to learn another language, so be it. You can learn that also. But fundamental, and then get into design techniques, architecture techniques, get exposed to full stack. I told you, right? That gives you inside out the front end, back end, the DevOps, the application layer. It gives you the end-to-end view. Get that. So I'll just quickly go to the slide which I was referring to. Use this, and this you can use this algorithms, logic, Python, Java +1, architecture, JavaScript, Angular, then you can stop with Java and Python also. That's fine. Patterns, use cases, interfaces, different architecture concepts, then learn one scripting language, then get exposed to full stack, and then choose your line of business. But and don't say I'm at already third year. Will I have time? You start. You will definitely, once you start, you will make it. I'm in final year. Can I do this? Any point of time you can do. Ideally, first year, second year, if you start, you will complete it by final year and come out as a great, fantastic IT engineer.
Thanks, Ashwin. The next one is immediately about full stack now. A fresher wants to know what is the expectation for a fresher in full stack, because for us it will be very hard to learn both front end and back end completely. So what is the expectation?
No, you be exposed. Great question. See, you be exposed. See, if you know Java and you can develop, and you know one scripting language, you can learn, you can develop a service in Java or Python. If you know front end, you can develop screens and screen validations and paint a screen. Okay. Now you have to know how do you connect. These are layers which connects the front end and the back end, and you know also understand the DevOps. When you say DevOps, how all these are orchestrated, and the database. So there is nothing new. Every fresher can do it. It's just that we have to give time to it and have a roadmap to it. As I told you, if you can use the roadmap which I've given you, or any other people, you can talk to anyone else and understand that it's the language is just an implementation. The full stack gives you an exposure, and you don't have to be an expert. Obviously, you don't have to be an expert. You grow as a full stack engineer, full stack architect. But the thing is, your interest in knowing these multiple layers adds your probability of getting a job, and more importantly, how value you can add during the job. Both are important, right? You don't want to get a job and not grow, or lose a job, the worst case. So how well it determines is very important, that you get exposed to it. There are full stack courses and it is a 6-month course or a 3-month course or a 4-month course, and you start off with, and that course alone will not help you. You have to practice. And as I told you, once you start coding and once you start seeing output, all this will look very easy. If you know only theory, you will not be any engineer. Forget full stack. So you develop a service, you develop a screen, you interlink it, you put it on DevOps, you have a script which can go, you talk to a database, and that's full stack engineering. You understand the concepts and then go deep into it. So I would say, and by the way, they ask from every company, not only Virtusa, every company would be an engineer which joins should be a full stack engineer very soon, because the customers are asking for it. The customers need full stack. People are looking for full stack. It's right. Rather than paying for 3 people, front end engineer, back end engineer, integration engineer, they want to pay to one person. As simple as that. So that's where full stack is gaining a lot of value. Naveen, any other questions, Naveen?
Yes, Ashwin. I mean, all are again related to either full stack or
maybe take one question, last question, and we'll.
Sure. Okay, so irrespective of how much we prepare in soft skills, when we get nervous during interviews, we are not able to express the way we want to. Can you guide us?
Great question. Practice is the mother of everything. So you need to practice. It can be hard as practicing in front of a mirror. Or nowadays with the mobile phones in the picture, record yourself. Record your, even if you don't have somebody to help you with an interview, you can record yourself and see yourself. That's the best thing. You forget about asking anybody. You record yourself and see. Do it 10 times. The nervousness will come down, because each one of us are the best judge of what we want to do. Because you don't have to imitate anybody. You don't have to be anybody. You have to be the best of your version. So, because you can never create something which you are not. Don't try to fudge this thing. So the best way is you record yourself, and with the mobiles and the smartphones, so easy nowadays. And with your laptops, you just record yourself taking few questions. There are mock interviews. You can get questions, explain your resume, do it, and then if you do 10 times, the nervousness will go down. And the people, and I haven't see, the nervousness comes from the fact that the people are there in the interview to prove you wrong. No, the people are there to see whether you have it in you. The people are not there to prove you wrong. The people are there to see whether you have got. That's all. And if one rejection does not do anything, one rejection does not do anything. Multiple rejection does not do. You have, once you are confident, you will get a job. Once you are competent, you will get a job. You just have to, and coming over the nervousness, the only way is practice. You practice in front of somebody. If you don't, I think first best practice is you recording and seeing for yourself. That learning will be very good.
Hello. Dr. Ashwin, I think there is a network issue. Kriti, is it audible?
Yes, Naveen.
I'm not able to hear Dr. Ashwin.
I think there is a network connectivity issue.
Okay, and another thing that I've been constantly getting in the message section is candidates asking me whether the candidates who got the mail for this session are selected. No, this is a general session where we sent mails for all students who have registered with us. Okay, so kindly stop asking questions about your result. We will provide it to you before end of day today.
Okay, students, thank you so much for joining this session. And I noticed that you were very interactive. You were asking too many questions, and I'm we hope that Dr. Ashwin has answered all your queries with respect to how you can hone your soft skills and where you can learn your technology and how you can move forward with respect to being academic and industry ready. Okay, so with this, I would like to thank Dr. Ashwin for taking the time to support us with this session, and we will provide you the link for the next session, the 7th of all 8 potential skills. So thank you so much for joining in. We'll keep you posted. Thank you.